All verse rising my soul family. Peace to the gods, stars, and goddesses. This is something that the Generation X melanated people in the country of USA would never know anything about the peace to the gods, stars, and goddesses, because they've been feeding into that slave owner European pilgrim religions for so damn long. But besides the fact, look, a lot of these melanated parents that look to be melanated Africans or melanated Caribbeans, it could be a mixture of both, and they have these melanated spiritually awake daughters and sons that came into existence from intercourse. A lot of these melanated parents in USA, they have these spiritually awake daughters and sons who is connected to Ankh life or the multiverse and know so much about extraterrestrial, celestial, esoteric frequencies. And it's like the melanated parents that's like from the baby boomers and Generation X, the ones that grew up in USA during the slavery times with the Pilgrims and Queen Elizabeth. They have these spiritually awake daughters and sons that try to give them advice from intuition. And these melanated parents that grew up in USA, whereas the melanated fathers or mothers, they don't hear what their spiritually awake daughter and son says to them, right? And that's very sad to me, right? Because I study Asian spirituality, African, Caribbean spiritualities, and guess what they have in common, right? You know, these spiritually awake daughters and spiritually awake sons, especially in Northeast Africa, in the country of Egypt, when the empresses and emperors, when they have their children, these emperors and empress, they learn everything from the spiritually awake daughter and spiritually awake son to be better individuals, way better than when they didn't have no children, right? That was the whole purpose of life in the African, Asian, and Caribbean countries of melanated people, right? And yes, there are melanated Asians. Go do your research. So what's really sad to me, when I see melanated parents that's like from the Generation X era that grew up in USA, they have these spiritually awake daughters and spiritually awake sons. You know, they're not connected to Freemasonry, Mormon, Zionist, jurisdiction, organizations, and all that. They don't feed into the matrix. It's like anytime that a melanated spiritually awake daughter or melanated spiritually awake son says to their Generation X father or mother who grew up in USA their whole entire life, it's like their melanated daughter and melanated son is spiritually awake. It's like they're speaking a different language to them, you know. And the melanated daughter and melanated son could be speaking English. They could be speaking English from the country of England to their own melanated father and melanated mother about anything that's of slavery, indoctrination from modern day, or it might be something of the past, right? But it's really sad to me. It's really sad to me how a lot of melanated fathers and melanated mothers who grew up in USA, they're just so far disconnected from their spiritually awake daughters and sons, right? And it does have a lot to do with the evil doctor systems, because I tell people this, man, if you're good, bro, anyone that's gonna have children to, like, you know, build a unity and organization of soulful vibrational frequencies to defeat the matrix, please have your children be birthed the natural way. Don't have them be birthing these doctors, because when the umbilical cord and the placenta is cut from the mother, that I'm gonna tell you right now, that mother is never going to be able to be spiritually connected to her daughter or son in no shape or form. And that includes the father as well, because a lot of stuff is spiritual. It's a spiritual esoteric warfare out here, right? So it's like, let's say, for example, let's say you had like a melanated Liberian daughter tell their melanated Liberian mother and melanated Liberian father in the country of USA about, you know, you shouldn't be living in fear. Like, you know, yes, there is racism, there is colorism, there is feminists out here, you know, that try to like bring negativity into your existence and try to like set you up for failure. You know, if that spiritually awake African Liberian daughter was to tell their own melanated mother and father in the country of USA that they should not live in fear, worrying about racism, colorism, sexism, I'm gonna tell you right now, that melanated father and melanated mother in the country USA gonna look at their daughter like they're crazy. Because, like, you know, melanated parents and you who grew up in USA their whole entire life, they feel like, you know, children that they have is not more spiritually intelligent than them. And that's false. Because you can go to Northeast Africa right now, in the country of Egypt. You can go to Nigeria right now. We can go to Sierra Leone. We can go to Jamaica, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Haiti, any Caribbean, African country. You could even go to these Asian countries where there's melanated people, melanated Asians. They'll tell you that the son and the daughter is the life force of the mother and the father when it comes to spiritual intelligence, man. These are all facts. These are all facts. And I know a lot of you evil, racist European slave owners who made USA that try to make melanated people be some nitwits out here, to not take heed to their spiritually awake daughter and son when it comes to spiritual intuitional intelligence, man. Screw you. That's how I feel. I'm pretty sure Triple X Temptation would say the same exact thing, because he was spiritually awake during his time. You know, it's sad what happened to him. But to get back to the topic, soul family, you know this to be facts. When it comes to these melanated parents, man, that grew up in USA, they don't realize that their own spiritually awake daughter and spiritually awake son, who get labeled conspiracy theorists, gets labeled schizophrenic or PTSD or ADHD, all these fucking fake labels that the soulless vibrational dumb people put on spiritually awake people. Their spiritually awake daughters and spiritually awake melanated sons are the spiritual cosmic life force of evolution. But a lot of melanated parents in USA don't know this, because a lot of melanated parents that's from the Generation X era, they grew up in USA. They didn't grow up in no St. Lucia, Trinidad, Haiti, Jamaica, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, you know, Congo, you know, Ivory Coast, Sudan, the country where the Maasai tribe is, Kenya. You know, they haven't. You know, and it's very sad, man. And this is the reason why a lot of spiritually awake people have a hard time connecting with their parents, right? Because this is a problem in USA. This is not really a problem in Japan, China, South Korea. It's not a problem in, you know, the country of Philippines, Thailand. It's not a problem in Jamaica. It's definitely not a problem in Barbados, you know, or Bahamas, or, bro, I could go on forever, for eternity, right? You know, when it comes to these melanated parents in the country of USA, they have these melanated children that's from Generation Z. And these melanated parents, that grew up in USA, they feel like, well, I have a daughter and a son, but I don't need to learn anything from them. They're younger than me. Now that's the most BS, ignorant way of thinking I ever heard. Because I'm gonna tell you, Generation X melanated people right now, you could learn so much from your spiritually awake daughter and spiritually awake son from Generation Z, way better than what that damn slave owner had taught you. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because these Generation X people who grew up in these melanated Generation X people, the melanated Generation X mothers and fathers who grew up in the Caribbean countries, the African countries, the Asian countries, or island somewhere, they take heed to their spiritually awake daughter and spiritually awake son, right? A lot of you Generation X fathers and mothers who grew up in USA, and you don't take advice and take heed to your melanated daughter and son that's spiritually awake, you should feel very ashamed of yourself, man. You're a disgrace to your damn ancestors.